Hey, it's Caitlin and Adam. To be our next guest on ENTA Ask, click the link below. Enjoy the episode.
Hello and welcome to another episode of ENTA Asks. I'm Adam Colazetti.
And I'm Caitlin Bullock.
And today we have Jason Duncan, who is the Executive Vice President and co-founder of RentPerks.
Which, as we understand it, is a business that has a tech, a service, and you're really helping the entire rental community, from the investor to the vendors doing property management to the renter. Like, you guys, turnkey solution, have solved the problem, driving the right behaviors with data. Is that correct? Did I get it?
Yep.
Did I miss anything?
The only thing is that we don't help property managers.
You don't help property managers.
We're competitive to them.
Competitive to them. But
so
vendors.
Vendors, yeah, we help vendor management in everything that we're doing from a process framework. Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I love it. And today we want to talk about the services, right? You're not just tech.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting. I mean, the biggest thing we always see, people go to us and they think, oh, we're a software platform that I can take care of my properties and things. We're actually the service provider. Right. So we are on the ground everywhere that we serve, in currently 22 cities across Canada. Our personnel are boots on the ground, and they're integrated with our tech in real time via mobile device technology. So it's completely different. And
because a pure technology company just leases their technology. They don't care how you use it.
Yeah, it's a software subscription. Yeah. So competitor to us, another property management company, would be using any of the 100 property management platforms available that are all doing the same thing, by the way. They're not really reinventing the wheel.
So you guys are a service company that's using technology to amplify your ability to deliver great service.
To provide great service, exactly.
And turnkey service.
Turnkey, bootstrap, like our bookends, complete service delivery in fields, and no matter where you want to invest, we can go there with you. So that's definitely unique. So services, you know, we focus on residential rental. We don't do commercial. We have on occasion stepped in to do something where it might be a mixed use building and it would have a couple of retail units in the base, and we can manage it. We are a licensed brokerage where we need to be. I'm a licensed broker across BC, Alberta, and soon to be Saskatchewan. So, you know, we can step in and do that work, but it's not our focus. We really focus on the residential. We focus on single family rents or multifamily rents, and we can have the entire mix of anything in that bandwidth and serve it very well. We take a very unique approach to the service delivery of those two assets. You know, when I was in university, I went to U of T, and I lived downtown, and my early stages of being out renting were, you know, walking up to an apartment, and yet, forgive me, because, you know, I have family like that, but there's the fat guy in flip-flops, and he's got the white tank top on, he's mowing the lawn, smoking a cigarette.
What do you want?
You want to see the property? Right? And so here I go. I'm kind of desperate. I need a place, and I'm going to go in and take a look at this. But my first interaction with the property is that it's mind-numbing. And there's a cost control in the traditional model around multifamily, and why they do that is that guy probably has a unit in the building and he lives there and takes care of it on the side, and they work that into the math, and it's horribly wrong. But that's what everyone does, and that's what's expected from the industry. And so what happens with your tenants? What tenants are you attracting to your asset? What is going on at your asset? There's a small REIT in Ontario, and I was talking to a guy that used to run with them a while back, and he was telling me that he had actually been out at a building, and it was like a tall tower, 140 units, and he'd stepped off the elevator because he was looking for the super, and he just happened to look down the hallway and saw a drug dealer handing a stack of cash to the guy in the hallway. And he went, what the hell's going on here? And it turns out that they actually had a number of instances in their properties around the portfolio, and like until they had that line of sight, they had no idea what was going on. And so they were looking at the financial poor performance and trying to figure out, nothing could make sense. Now they see like there's consistency, because if you're placing drug dealers so they pay you for a little side money. The rest of the tenants on that floor and living in that environment are going to be what? Like people that will put up with that. And what are you attracting? You've just lost massive revenue to an asset by the lifestyle affordability to the tenants that you're attracting. So in the staffing model, my commercial real estate background, I looked at it and I went, I want really professional services to manage the trades that are taking care of all the common area, asset management, call it, where you've got, boilers, they're doing consistent service calls and things. We want to manage them. We want them to be accountable. We want them to not be there doing consistent billing and things. If they can fix something and replace and reduce the ongoing maintenance and things. We're looking at it from a different capacity, but we need a certain personnel for that. But those people don't really go out and interact with the tenants. Our customer service reps are front side of our brand, and they're the ones that engage with placing the tenants, and they're the ones that run around and post notices if they have to and things. Right. So we run this 2 staffing model in that asset, and nobody is on site. They're all in geofence technology, and based on the scheduling of requirements for service trades at the asset, as an example, we could have a guy out dealing with boilers in 4 different buildings in a single day, just kind of bouncing around the city because of the scheduling framework that we've deployed through the app.
Right. So you're able to keep the vendors happy and busy and employed.
Keep them providing the service that we need them to do. Right. They're happy in the sense that they can show up and know what to expect. But where it gets really interesting is leveraging the information they're able to provide and what we're trying to reinforce and have personnel there to take extra data. So most of the time, the industry is very reactive, and what we're trying to do is look at predictive analysis over mechanical and structural and understand the deterioration rates over certain components of the building. And I'm working with a third-party company that we'll even step in and they'll go in an infrared scan. Now we're using that, and we're there and we're doing our service calls. What we're really doing is reducing the maintenance load on the asset. And so that's getting a lot of extra revenue to an asset annualized. In addition, our advertising and our tech and our banking and our personnel who are kind of professional when they show up, and they can speak in a nice tone, and they're really excited about what we're doing as a company and why a tenant should be on our platform. Tech, rewards, banking, all the other things that they get. Now all of a sudden we're driving different demand to the asset, and we're also increasing the rental values on a unit by unit base and increasing the top line revenue overall. So we've actually got this delta between the cost layer being reduced and the income increasing, that the performance of an asset is accelerating against the average marketplace.
Okay, so I really appreciate this, because last year I got a special assessment done for my property management, right? And so then they're like, here's your portion of what you owe to have this fixed. And then this year I got another one. I'm like, I'm sorry. Did you not assess the whole building? Like, why do I have this year after year? What did you miss? That was like $56,000. You missed it last year? What happened?
And the condos are interesting. When you look at the actual budget and you see a line item for bulbs from an electrician company at $500, and you think, well, what kind of bulbs are these?
They must last forever.
Very expensive installer, and I probably bought
chandelier?
the bulbs from China, and I imported them myself, because you can buy them at 10 cents on the dollar doing that, and they know that business. So, and it's interesting. It's a very reactive service model in most instances.
I love that you're doing preventative.
We want to try and get out in front of it. Right? We are not in the business of maintenance. We don't do the maintenance itself. We facilitate the management to get it done, and we use all of our vendors. But because we're not doing that workload ourselves, we're not padding invoice statements. We're not having personnel that are not doing the job and billing us by just going back and repeatedly doing a
So let me ask you this. If
job.
you see that you're having certain maintenance issues on certain types of assets that are a certain age and a certain type Could you then look at that and see ones that haven't had that issue yet, but say, we should send someone over there and check it out, or like,
you know, and that's really interesting. And as we get to a certain scale, we're actually going to start being able to look at that data as our folios grow, because you'll have consistencies, and where the consistencies come in are regional asset, but also regional. You know, Ontario assets are going to perform different than Alberta, and way different than Vancouver with all the rain and everything.
Well, and you take
else.
An older city like Quebec, even, right? Like it's in Montreal, it's old. Like the buildings are older, so it's a whole different.
So what we'll do is we'll look at certain componentry, the mechanical things, and we can create some predictive analysis around that framework. Consistent service is key. And the service actually looking for things. You know, somebody comes to your single family rental home and you know, you go flip a filter in. We run a filter program. So we stick the filter in, change the batteries in the smoke detectors. We're actually there looking and seeing when the service was done and documenting it. So we've got a register of everything that's going on, but they're also there. So if they hear some sort of a squeaky noise, you know, hit the maintenance app, bam, the trades come out and take a look, and you know, now we're $500 to replace a motor instead of $2,500 for a whole HVAC unit. Right. So we want to look at things like that from the data and from the consistency of our service in field, try and tie them together.
Now there's a story about a bomb.
There is a bomb. Yeah.
There's what?
There was a bomb, and not a legitimate bomb, but it was something that was handed to us. Multifamily building, and we were scheduled to take over it on the 1st of December, and on the 27th of November, the boiler blew out, had a gas leak. The gas company came, fire department was called, they shut it all down. We're going into December. This was actually right at the start of the pandemic, so no access to trades. And we had just prepared all the tenants that we were going to be stepping in. So this is our problem, right? Like we did it. We blew up the thing.
Naturally.
So we're dealing with all the tenants and everything else. We got our personnel out there. We found some temporary heat solutions and got them in like within the 24 hours of it actually taking place. We were out there and dealt with it, and then ran through a whole strategy of looking at RFP to replace the system. And we found out all sorts of interesting things, like the boiler was never supposed to be in that building. It wasn't sufficient. It was running at 120% probably. And the property manager was flipping the thing on and off every year, every season, not servicing it annually. So it just worked itself into the ground. And so we stepped in and we looked at an RFP to do heat pumps or electric baseboard and a new boiler solution, and ended up going down that path using existing infrastructure. But it was interesting because when we're running the RFP, we're hearing all the stories from manufacturers of boilers and things. And we just took over this asset, and we've got 30 years history on the 3 buildings surrounding because of the way we integrated and talked to the vendors about what we're trying to do and what other options are available, instead of just going and fixing the thing. So we tried to approach, can we go to a better state than just operating along this way? So that was interesting. That was also a building that had drug dealer and all sorts of other things going on. It was in Ontario. We managed to get the drug dealer out, which is rare because Ontario and BC, hard to get evictions.
It is very.
And so, you know, all the service and all the consistent communication and all the framework and everything being digital allows us really good records management for that kind of stuff as well.
So like, I just need to know this before we wrap up, but part of your service, like when you recognize that there's something shady going on, like you'd say to the investor, like, hey, we need to do something here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not spending money properly on an asset, it deteriorates and its value does as well. And so our objective is to maximize the value on every asset that we manage. And if you're not prepared to spend money to improve your asset and make it perform, you're not going to attract the right tenants. You're going to actually have greater financial risk when things do go wrong. And let's assume like you got a tenant and now you're putting them in a hotel for a couple of weeks until whatever has to get fixed. People don't think about investing into real estate in that way. They're reactive and they'll band-aid fix when they're managing it themselves. So what we want to hope to do is understand that we're actually treating your investment with a long-term interest, which is benefiting you.
Right. Yeah, you're looking out for their best interests on their investment. So they get the most out of it when they're ready to do that. That's amazing. I love it. What are we going to talk about next time?
You know, I think we should probably touch on rewards, because it's integral to what we do. It's a game changer, and it's not being done anywhere else. So let's get on to that next.
How's that for a teaser?
I know, a little teaser. Join us next time.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember, if you know somebody that might want to be on ENTA Ask, just click the link below.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.